by Stacey. Guys, if you're on, just say hey. Tell me where you're watching from, what you're up to tonight. Monday night, woohoo! It's been kind of a weird Monday for me. Well, I think it's the time change. I feel like I am so old. I feel like I'm getting, because I swear it feels like midnight tonight. All right, guys, I've got the chat up. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. So, guys, again, as you're popping on, just say hello. We're going to give it just a few minutes. Well, probably not a few minutes, but a little bit for the notifications to go out, for everybody to pop on. We've got a live chat. So say hey. If you watch on replay, hashtag replay, please. And guys, we're going to go ahead and just start talking about what we're doing while we're waiting for people to come on. I'm going to start opening my paint. So I told you guys we were going to do the first and second coat. Hey, Kathy, thanks for joining. I told you guys we were going to be doing. Are you still there? Okay, I guess I stayed live. My phone just flipped to another app. I am not showing up live for myself. You guys, if you can see me, can you just give me like an indication or something like that? I did see the chat. Uh-oh. Let's try this again. Okay, I can see everybody now. Hey, Denise, good to see you. Oh, yeah, and of course now I have sound. Hey, Denise, good to see you. You guys, one day, I say this every time, you guys should know by now I'm never going to have it together. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. It's just me. I've accepted at this point in my life. But, all right, guys, now we're going to talk about paint. So I told you guys we were going to be doing the, oh no, now you can't hear. Try going out and coming back in again. If somebody could actually, maybe I could type that. If somebody can actually let her know. Usually if you come back out and go back in, that's what I just had to do to get it to show up. So hopefully it's working. Hey, Kate, good to see you. All right, guys, so now I'm really going to start opening paint. I told you guys we were going to do the first and second coats tonight. That's yes and no. I actually intended the first one, which is just very basic, and then the two that are, important, make it look the way it does. But, because I'm not going to lie, I could not decide how I wanted to paint this. It was hard enough just to pick the colors. And so I couldn't decide exactly how I wanted to do it. So we're actually going to do two. We're going to do the first, like building that dimension, which is super quick and easy. And then we are going to go into two different blending techniques to kind of see which one we want to go with. And guys, I really want your feedback. I've got so many things running through my head for this piece that I just cannot decide. So the first thing, super easy, guys, is, and I always like to do this anytime that I add molds or anything like that. I like to, oh, here it is. I like to begin building, I like to build that depth and dimension with paint. I know there's waxes and everything else out there, and I do use those as well. But this just gives it that little bit of extra, which kind of sets your piece apart and just really adds so much detail. So I like to go in with just a dark color. I'm thinking that we're going to be working with the colors I just opened, which is apricot, flamingo, and peony. And I'm going to age those out, and I'm thinking I'm going to be using a brown wax, which is going to be darker than this truffle. But, it doesn't get in, especially when the molds are this thick, it doesn't get in every single spot. So this is great for, one, coverage inside your molds. It's so easy when there's so much intricate detail to have like a little spot in here that's gray that you don't see. So that's number one. It's just for coverage so that when I get to the pretty part of the paint job, I can focus on that and I don't have to worry about, oh, did I miss this spot or that spot? And you'll see in a minute why when it's this detailed for the molds. So I'm using a French tip brush here, and I'm just getting it nice and wet. I'm not misting my project. The reason that I'm not is I'm actually using silk paint, and it's really just for the color. Hey, Elena, good to see you. Thanks for joining. So I'm going to be using truffle. This is one of the new Dixie Belle colors. This is the Silk All-in-One Mineral Paint. You do not use it like chalk paint. You do not want to mist your piece, and you don't want to mist your piece because this will not dry correctly, which of course there's going to be paint over it, so it really doesn't matter as much in this situation, but I still want to stick to that. You get drag marks and different things like that because of the way this all-in-one mineral paint dries. And when I say it's all-in-one mineral paint, it is actually a built-in primer as well as a built-in protectant. Again, I'm only using it for the color. And the reason that I'm misting my brush with this water, and I'm using a nice little pointy brush, kind of swirling it around, getting it in there. I'm going to flip this around so I can see the chat while I'm doing this. And you guys, I know you've seen me do this before. If you watch me, this is almost always my first step when I have molding or anything like that on the piece. Just because there's so much detail, you've got to hit it from so many different angles. And the water on the brush helps thin out the paint so that it actually runs down into all those grooves, and I don't have to actually touch every little spot with the paint because it's gonna run in. I've got some really deep areas here too, so I'm just kind of dabbing in those spots to get them in. I want to show you guys something else, and I'll bring you in close on this one. I'm not doing it on the sides, but if you remember, last week I think it was, I did the stamp texture. Yeah, that was last week. Oh, I am loving it, especially the script. The script came out so nice, but it's kind of a reverse texture. So I'm also using this to get into, I didn't do it on the sides. I'm a little concerned, but we'll see what happens once we start painting. But I'm getting it into all of that kind of reverse low area texture of the script. And I'll bring you guys in it close in a second. And I know this is the ugly face, so don't think that this piece is even going to remotely look this way. But when you're painting a nice finish on and you're doing a blend, you cannot take time to scrub into all of these details. And I guarantee you there's a couple spots I'll miss, but that's okay because on those areas that I missed, all I'll do is come in later. I'll just take a fine art brush or whatever it is once I see that spot, and I will just kind of put the point of it inside and get it that way. But you guys, there's so much detail. It's just, you've got to get in there. And if you're going all one color, you know, of course you can do this the same way, but particularly when you're going different colors as well and you're doing a decorative finish, it's just too much to try to paint in the details. And I don't really like to do a base coat. Now, you guys, I did also go around like the details. I'll show you down here. Just kind of put this truffle here and there. So that's it. That's all I'm doing. See, this is a good example right here. I actually missed a little spot when I did it. So I just took the tip of my brush and stuck it in there. And it's all set. So we're done there. I just stuck my brush in a little bucket of water, and we're going to get to painting the fun parts. Not exactly sure how I want to paint it, but I think, guys, and I definitely want your opinion. I think on one side here, we're going to kind of do a streaky blend. And I think on the, oh, thanks, Denise. Oh, let me bring you in too. Let's see here. Let me bring you in and show you this script that we did last week. Can you guys see that script? It came out so beautiful. It looks like mud right now. But you guys, I heavily textured this. The script came out beautiful. Let me spin you around. Don't pay attention to my mess. See how pretty it is? You can really see it under here because we don't have the glare from the wet paint. But that is using stamps and doing kind of a reverse texturing. I did it live. Oh, no. Okay. I'm so sorry. When I put it back in the, I'm having quite the night. When I put the phone back in the charger or in the tripod, it tried to call 911. Oh, thanks, Elena. Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to, you guys, I never use my stamps. I'm terrible about it. I'm moving you back because I'm going to spin this around. We're going to start painting the fun part. What was I saying? Oh, I never use my stamps. And I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to dig my other stamps out. What I did learn by doing this, by the way, guys, that I couldn't tell you last week, but the more I did it, the more I learned. I was pushing, when I was doing it up here, I was kind of pushing really hard. So I started putting a little less pressure on it, and I just kind of let it sit there for a little while, set up, and then I pulled it back out. It worked better when the, what was it? The mud wasn't so thick. And then also, the less detail in the stamp, the better it came out. So when it was, like I tried with this one bunching of flowers that was really small, it had a ton of detail on the stamp. Those just kind of created a cool texture pattern. But things that weren't as detailed, and this is the one I use for script. So, oh goodness. Ow. I'm too old for that leg cramp. You guys, forgive me tonight. It is like, it's just quite the night. But this is the one that I use for the script. It's just a small one. I had another one too. But so you can see it has quite a bit of detail in it. But, you know, it's some of them are even more detailed. Those did not work well at all. So, that's the side here. And this was the very first side I did after I did that top part. So the script didn't come out as well. You can see how much I learned between the top that we did last week and just even getting to that inside. Really, it was like the third time I played with it. I really kind of got the feel for it, and it came out really nice. But, oh, and by the way, this Regal Striae 3D stencil that we used, it's $12.99. I do have it on my website right now. I have 2 left. So I didn't have it on last week. I actually just got it on today. Let's see here. I know, Kate. And neither had I. And then it came to me a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that is, why had I never thought about that far? And the reason it did is because Donna had that challenge on her page. And part of it was to do a frottage, which is just, well, if you're drawing, you know, that's like a rub. But in this case, it was just like create some kind of texture frottage with a medium you haven't used before. And I actually used like what did I use? I used bubble wrap and some other stuff, like those little things you stick on the bottom of a sheet of those. Those created some really nice, perfect circles. But then when I was walking around the house, I thought, why am I not using these stamps that way? Oh, thanks, Michelle. All right. I'm a hot mess tonight, Elena. I am like completely a hot mess. I said a longer than usual prayer before this live because I just knew. I knew. Anyway, I don't even want to go back and look at the video of what you guys saw when I was trying to crawl across the floor. Anyway, I'm going to be embarrassed. My face is going to turn red now. Anyhow, my filter is also broken tonight. So I can't decide if I want to do like a cloudy blend or if I want to do like a streaky blend. So I'm going to do this side in a streaky blend, which was, thanks Denise, which was my original idea. And then we're going to see what it looks like in a cloudy blend. And I want you guys to tell me what you think. I love to know what you think. And we are going to be using synthetic brushes. Let me try to watch the time so I don't have you here all night because it already feels like midnight to me. So these are wet, and I'm fine with the paint, the brush that I'm applying the paint with. I'm fine with it being wet. With starting out with it wet. But my blending brush, I do like that to be a dry brush. And I'm going to start out with an oval medium and an oval small. And I think that for the peony, I'm going to use one of the same brushes. Normally when you're blending, you use a different brush. I just got it even more wet because I have to get into a lot of detail here. For the streaky blend, I'm going to be using a mini. And then an oval small, oval medium. But I don't really want the true color of peony. I kind of want to blend it on my piece, mix the color on my piece, not blend. Blend is kind of when you have two separate colors and you can create that transition. But mixing, I truly want to get a new color and not really, I don't think I really want the peony to show up. I'm not sure about that. We're just going to start painting and see what happens. Because I cannot decide. And you know what? I think I'm going to get out maybe a round small as well. And guys, for blending these synthetic brushes or for a brush stroke free finish, these synthetic brushes are amazing. So let's see. I'm going to start off with a little peony near the bottom. And look, I automatically, because I don't want a lot of peony without even thinking about it, seems like I do though, the way I'm putting it on here. I grab this round small. Maybe I do want more peony than I think. Kind of like it. I'm going to go ahead and mist this down. I want it nice and kind of wet. Actually, you know what? I think I am going to use these small brushes. We're going to put a little bit. Guys, my flamingo's kind of thick. I'm going to tell you now, had I thought about it, I would have added some water to my paint. And I know this looks super bright, guys, but I should have added water to my paint. It would make it easier to blend and mix. Really, all I'm doing right now is toning down some of this peony. Because again, this isn't going to be super bright. I'm going to age it out. And I'm going to tell you something. I am going to have to. Let me do something really quick. So what I'm realizing while I'm painting this, and I told you about this detail, but this is the first time I've used stamps. Kind of had an idea, but I wasn't sure. I cannot get into the grooves. So I just want to make sure that I have paint everywhere. I don't want to have to worry about it while I'm doing this blend. So what I'm doing right now is just scrubbing in some of this apricot. And guys, sometimes you just go on the fly and change your mind on what you're doing, and that's okay. Unless it's a commission, then you may not want to do that. You may have an unhappy person if you do that. I'm just getting some of this out over here. Ooh. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I have never actually really painted with these colors outside of like artistic. I've never actually painted an entire piece of furniture in flamingo or apricot. And that totally did not go like I planned it to. I just started painting and did a regular blend, but that's not what I want. So we're going to put some more paint on here and do it a little bit different. I really want to work a lot of this peony out though. I want it very muted. I'm just taking my brush, and what I'm doing is I'm dragging this dark color more into the center. Guys, I'm really painting on the fly right now. This was not the plan, but This is more so how I paint in real life anyway. I don't really think about it. I think about it on a live because I need to tell you guys what I'm doing. My paint is so thick. I don't care if I have drips on here either. I want this to be, this is a beat up piece of furniture. I just want it to be fun. And see how I have that truffle showing through? It's already creating those layers. All right, and so actually I'm not gonna go to my blending brush. I'm gonna go to this brush that I kind of have all the colors on. And I'm gonna start, I'm going in a circle because I really wanna mix these together. Also, by the way, this is highly pigmented when you're looking at these colors right here. So normally you could be looking at like 3 coats when you're painting in these colors. I'm telling you, I don't like to do more than 2 coats of paint. I kind of like this blend, and it's really not what I was trying to do. You know what? What do you guys think? I think I'm actually going to go with this. I think we're going to come up here. Oh, yeah, I'm going with this. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. It just took a totally different turn. We're just going to paint this whole thing. Kind of feeling it. You guys, what I'm doing here is, again, this is how I start to build layers. And I'm just hitting, the excess paint is lighter. So I'm just hitting it on these edges so I can still start building that depth and dimension. So let's come over here. I'm going with this, guys. It was not the plan, but I kind of like it. I didn't even, let's see. Oh, thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Denise. All right, here we go. So let's take this peony down here. You guys, normally I only do the big parts for you. I feel like you get probably bored of watching me, but I think I'm kind of feeling this. I think I'm just gonna paint here. We're gonna see what we come out with. And you guys, for me, that's the most stress relieving way to paint, is just go for it. And have fun. If you don't get what you want, it is just paint. You can fix it relatively easily. Guys, this is the back of, you can see how thick that flamingo is. You guys, this paint is like several years old because I told you I never paint in these colors. So the brush that I decided to blend with is actually, because normally my blending brush is one I never put paint on. But in this case, sometimes I like to blend with a brush that I am putting paint on if I want that to be my predominant brush. And I'm just going to wipe the colors back. And we're going to start moving this around. You guys, this peony and apricot together create this gorgeous, I'm going to tell you what else I want to do to this too, and this may make a little more sense. But this apricot and peony together are creating this gorgeous mauve color. I almost want to paint something in this color and just mix these up a little bit. All right, so I'm liking how this is going. So what I'm doing ultimately is I want to, on the molding, a lot of times I use gilding wax on there. And in this case, what I want to do on the molding is I want to actually do a dry brush. I haven't done it in a while, so I want to paint the flowers out, the leaves out, the stems out. It's a lot easier than it sounds. And I will do that live. But to do that, I want some of this. It's really bright right now. I want it to be a little bit muted. And that's where I'm going to come in and really tone it down with the aging wax and stuff like that. This would be an excellent piece too for some Dixie mud. Or not Dixie mud. Whew. Dixie dirt. Dixie dirt. Let's see. Mud, dirt, all the same. Oh, you're so sweet, Elena. Oh, thanks. You might be watching me sleep because it feels like midnight though. This whole time change. You guys, so Indiana doesn't change time, right? And then there's like one other northeastern state. Is that right, guys? Or I don't know. And every year, I swear, for as long as I can remember, they say, oh, we're going to get rid of this. You know, we don't need this any longer. Oh, you know what I want to try to do? And then we always end up, I want to see how this looks. Guys, the first coat is the perfect time to do something like this. I'm going to take a little bit of truffle. I had to get a different French tip brush. And I'm going to start some of my shading, I think. Ooh, that's a pretty mix too. That's really pretty. Oh man. Truffle and peony. So truffle and prickly pear would probably create a really pretty, I like to call them colorful neutrals because they're really kind of subdued because they're mixed with a darker neutral. And actually, that's a gorgeous color. Very rose, dusty, desert rose. I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to come in over here just with some of that excess paint and start creating that shading. Because, guys, one of the questions that I do get asked is, you know, why do you put like a base color on? Like, how does that change the second coat or whatever? It does. If you have a dark color under like this right here, these colors on the top are going to appear darker or different depending on what color's underneath of them. And the same is true if you have white underneath it, they're going to appear lighter and brighter. It's very subtle, and unless you have two pieces next to each other, you're really not going to consciously notice it, but it does create, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh, Michelle, did you watch the class that I actually did? I posted, it was like a pay-for class I did a few years ago, but when Facebook started deleting videos, I put them on YouTube. They're like, it was an actual pay class, so it's like a 2 or 3 hour lives. 6 hours of like in-depth information on blending, things that I don't necessarily go through on a live. I just don't have time to. And of course, I'm a mess on a live. It's not like I have notes or anything like that. I'm just here. But, you know, for a class, that's a little bit different. I want to make sure certain points get hit. So it might help if you watch that class. I know there's a couple people on here who have taken it, like, and the feedback as far as that's concerned has been really good. Denise actually took it a long, long time ago. So she could probably, like, if, you know, I don't know, 6 hours of watching a blend. There's a lot of information on there. I'm so ADHD, I would be, after 5 minutes, I would probably be doing something else because I would forget I was watching it. You know, I would suddenly remember some laundry, and then like 5 hours later, I would, you know, be mopping the floor. And anyway, I digress. See what I mean? Tonight's a perfect example. But yeah, Michelle, like that, I would definitely recommend. I mean, and it's free. They're on here now. And that has tons. I mean, I go into brushes. I go into like color theory on, you know, because at first, like picking the right colors when you're new to blending. I talk about thinning out your paint, which is another nice little tip. That helps when you're like first starting. I just go into a lot of detail. You guys, I'm going to worry about getting all this later. I don't want to keep painting the feet. I want to at least get to this section here so you guys can see what we've got going on. And let's get a lot of this flamingo up here, kind of tone down that peony. And you're going to see really when I get to these molds how that dimension is created. But look how much of that truffle is showing through. Like getting coverage when you have all of these molds on here is just too much when you're trying to get a pretty paint job. That's another reason I always talk about the depth, and that's the main thing, but it just makes such a difference. And again, coming down, getting some of this stuff down here. And you know, a lot of blending too is not thinking about it so much. And I know you do when you have to think about it when you first start. But it's like just looking at your piece, knowing where the color is going. You know, like say for up here, I want more flamingo up here. If I'm bringing the wrong color the wrong way, wipe the brush off so you don't have the paint on it, and, you know, kind of flick it the way you want to go. Also, another big thing is the blending is in the wrist. A lot of blending is in the wrist. It's not, you know, full arm movement. When I see classes, that's one of the, actually there's two things in classes. One of them is just painting with an arm. You never flick your wrist. When you're going along, let me put some flamingo on here. Or I mean apricot, sorry. Let me lighten this up before it dries. But you guys, my wrist, it's constantly flicking. It's this, like this. My arm isn't, like, a lot of people will paint with their home. You don't have the same amount of control. Flick your wrist. And as soon as I have a color going the wrong way, I will stop. And so, okay. So I have some streaks coming up here. The apricot is very pronounced. I'm going to go the other way. And then I'm going to come back and feather. So more pressure, moving that apricot around, light feather this way to smooth it out. And then I don't have a lot of paint on here. Ooh, that script is going to be so pretty. I just went over. This is where I'm coming back and dry brushing. It's not really a dry brush because my brush is wet, but I don't have added paint to it. I'm just coming back over these areas. Oh, that foot looks so pretty. That's how I'm painting them. Oh, I love that. I got to get a little more peony on here because that color is a slightly different shade. And you see, like, the more comfortable you get, the more practice you get, the more comfortable you're going to be to, like, say, okay, you know what? I want some stippling there, but it looks good when it's a soft blend over here. And like I said, I used to get a question asked about, like, how do you go around a corner and continue that blend on since you're blending in small sections, you don't want to carry it over. The answer is take that excess paint that's a slightly different color. It looks drastically different because the paint is wet, but when it dries, the paint changes color, and it's gonna come together more. Also when it's all dry, because a lot of times it'll dry, it doesn't have the same amount of water all over it and whatever else, so it dries. Like this side might be dry, then it might be wet right here and dry there. You know, it doesn't dry all at the same time. Oh, thanks, Elena. I wanted something different because like I said, I've never done a whole piece of furniture in these colors. Oh, good, Denise. Yeah. All right. So, oh, okay, Michelle, the other big tip that I have seen in classes that is detrimental to blending, I'm going to bring you guys closer for this part, that is detrimental to blending is the amount of paint you use. And that is huge because if you have a ton of paint on your piece, and I'm going to tell you something, I can tell who paints thick. And actually the majority of people paint thick. Too much paint. My paint lasts forever, and I'm talking, I use tiny, minuscule amounts. So it's going to be like a watercolor consistency. Super thin. The coverage is great on this paint. And this is Dixie Belle paint, by the way. I think most of you guys know on here, but, you know, for anybody watching that hasn't seen. All right, so we're going to take some of this peony. I don't want to go too far over there. Let's keep it darker down here at the bottom. Ooh, and look at that peony. Watch this, guys. It creates such a pretty, just run it along the edge a little bit. It creates such a pretty highlight and look. And I'll bring you in so you can see these close up. We're going to do this whole drawer section, I think, here pretty much. And let's just go a little bit right here. I don't want a lot of this on. I want to keep it kind of light. And I'm going to mist down my brush because my flamingo is so thick. It is not conducive to blending. And in this case, I'm going to have to work this a lot. So I'm just adding a little bit here and there. I'll be reactivating it. Very thin. In fact, I want to show you my brush here as I'm going. Let me start doing that. I still haven't added more paint, so I'm just mixing this in with the peony to kind of tame it down a little bit. Guys, my wrist is going to get this paint everywhere I need it to go. We're going to come in with some more water. And you guys, one of the reasons I do this much work, I want to show you something. You see that? That is hardly any paint. There's only a few bristles on the side there that I have added paint to. Now watch how far this is going to go. Actually, it's probably too much. To be honest, I know it is too much. That's all right. We're going to move some of it down here. Let's put some of it down here. Look at that. You see how much that was? And I know I'm going to show you. I need a flat area to show you on because literally that is all the paint. Watch. I'm going to show you every time so you can see. See that at an angle? I barely touch the bristles in. And again, see how much paint that is? One of the biggest, you cannot blend, you can't glob on. And I'm sorry, I said glob on because it's really not globbing on. It's, who would think you only use that much paint? Look, I mean, hardly any. My granddaughter uses more paint to paint a tiny little wooden thing. And even when you are going for opaque, the key is thin layers, but at least 2 of them. And 2 is enough. This is a large brush. You also want to put paint on according to your brush. Because if I just dip the tip of these bristles and an oval small, these brushes are deceiving. They hold tons of paint. Tons. So for this, watch this, guys. That's literally it. I dipped a little corner and we're going to come right over this, bring that up here. I want to get those highlights going. All right, so now I am going to dip. Look at that. I mean, we're talking minuscule amount of paint. I'm going to tell you what. I could take 2 spoonfuls of each color, these 3 colors of paint, and I could probably paint this entire vanity. My paint actually goes further than the amount that it says it can go. Pretty much close to it, but I can get quite a bit. Let me tell you, because I know, Michelle, that you paint, so you'll know what I'm talking about when I say this. I put a lot more on it that time, but again, it's a lot. So I'm going to have to go over this area over here. But elderflower, right? So I painted, what was the first thing? Okay. So I had a 16 ounce of elderflower. That's one of the Silk All-in-One mineral paints. It was one of my primary colors on the rainy afternoon piece. I painted 2 solid coats on 2 Bombay bedside tables, which were rather larger. And then what else did I paint with it? I want this darker down here though, by the way, guys. I just painted something else with it. Oh, I painted the inside of these drawers. I painted the inside of the top. 2 coats, 3 coats on one of the bottoms of these drawers because it had something there. I want to darken that up. I want to darken some up on the inside of this too. Add a little bit more peony in there. And guys, I still probably have at least 4 ounces left. So it is really key to not use a whole ton of paint. I want to get some of this peony down in these recesses. And, ooh, that was a ton. So, I mean, I accidentally got a big glob of paint because this is super thick and I just wiped it all off. So, this is all I have now here. And I'm going to get some of that excess off on the side. So, the paint goes a really, really long way. But when you use a lot of it, it is super hard to... I got a little bit more down in here than I wanted to. I wanted to leave more of that truffle showing. That's all right. Okay, we're going to let that... Actually, no, we're not, because I'm very impatient. We're going to come in with a little bit of apricot, and I want to start... I wish I would have got my white out. I want to start highlighting these. And like I said, I'm going to do a dry brush over these, but the more layers that I create right now, just in this one coat, the more, the easier it'll be when I go to dry brush. So check that out. Like hardly any paint, and that's probably too much paint. Okay, there we go. You know what else I want to do? I want to hardly any paint. Actually, I want to do this first to get some of it off. And I want to start highlighting some of this script down here. Giving that some dimension. The key is hardly any paint. And I'm going to tell you, so if you don't get paint from me, like if you don't purchase your paint from me, and that's, by the way, that's perfectly okay. I mean, other Dixie Belle retailers, please support small business, all that good stuff. But if you do not get your paint from me, if you get your paint from me, I can always tell who is using too much paint. Because I can see their output and I can kind of see what they're getting. And the majority of people, you could save so much on your paint. I feel like, I don't think Jennifer's on tonight. Guys, I try to not get so caught up like this in the details whenever I am painting live, but this is truly how I paint a piece of furniture. I'm just constantly highlighting over and doing all that good stuff. You guys, and I can stop here. This is definitely the style I'm going to go with, but I am going to bring you in and I'm going to kind of show you those layers and everything that I created. So I will let this dry pretty much overnight. Jennifer, you know about like how much paint you use and the difference. The difference in like that brushstroke free finish when you start using less paint, it does not take much. But hold on, guys. I'm going to bring you in so I can show you this. I'm going to go through all the comments and everything. But the second layer when I do this is going to be easier. It'll go faster because I'm creating so much already. And I'm going to bring you guys in to show you exactly kind of how this looks, how that dimension is coming together. Colors get weird when you come in. I don't know why. But see how the truffle is still showing? And we're just getting that dimension. We've already got some highlights on our mold started. I'm going to bring you guys all the way down so you can see close up. Kind of everything that's going on there. You can see this piece was really rough. I had to move veneer from the side. Let me bring you around now. But the dimension, oh gosh, oh my finger. Ow, sorry. When I move that, my fingers aren't quite healed and I forgot to put a Band-Aid on. They're healed on the inside, but they were so deep the outside skin didn't grow together. But check that out. So see how, and there's our script that we did. Let me see. Well, I'll show you the rest when we do the second coat. And you can see over here how we've got all those highlights going already as well. But that is it. This is definitely what I'm going with. And it's definitely going to be aged out so that it brings all of that together. Because of how terrible the shape was, I'm painting every part of this. The inside of the drawers was the same decoupage paper as we put in the top last week. And actually, we're at the fun part now. So next, maybe it might be Wednesday. I'm not as far along on the jewelry box. I had a couple commissions to get out and a canvas to do this weekend, which I did post today. And I have a full video. I didn't do any of it live, but I videoed the whole thing. So I can edit that and post it. So you can watch for that. But we might do the second coat Wednesday night. Tell me what you guys think. I was trying to keep YouTube on YouTube and Facebook on Facebook, separate projects. But I think I might like to go ahead and get the second coat on this, and then we could finish it up like the following Monday night, next Monday night. I know some people who have Facebook, though, don't like to do YouTube or vice versa. So just let me know, guys. I'm going to go through the comments right quick. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Denise. I've discovered an old immersion blender is a great tool. Oh, yes. Yes, exactly. That's so true, Kate. It's so much easier with that. And when I first started, I used to use a Ninja. I had separate attachments just to blend my paint up. But I'm going to tell you something. I told you guys, I really only use these colors in artistic painting for the most part. So I have had them. They're all the old label paints. I've had this one since January of 2020. So it is, and if I would have had time, I would have added water, but you can see how thick it is. This is not, look, that is not optimal for blending. It's not. And before I continue on and go to the second coat, I will add some water and mix it up. I had to stir up one of these paints. I opened this apricot. It was the apricot that I opened. And the peony also. Peony was the same. This one's from March of 2020. I don't use these colors. And, well, this one lost its sticker. But anyway, needless to say, it took me a good 3 minutes because this paint was completely separated. I could actually see the oranges and the yellows and the apricot because everything had separated. But yeah, like she said, an immersion blender is phenomenal for that as well. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Denise. Let's see here. Let's keep going with this Wednesday. Okay, Elena, a vote for this Wednesday. That's perfect. We can do the second coat on it. I'm so excited about this vanity. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Oh, you guys should see the hardware. Let me go through the comments. That way anybody who wants to go can. But I'll show you the hard. Oh, no, I can't. Sorry, I already put it up. Yeah, I did. Darn. Well, maybe I'll have it out next week. I'll try to remember. Let's see here. Painting and filing, I'm going through way too much paint. Thought it was the roller. So now I will say, Elena, so a couple things. The filing cabinet, she said she's painting a file cabinet. She's going through way too much paint. Do you use the Dixie Belle brushes? It's okay if you don't. Like there are other good brushes too. My favorite is Dixie Belle, but that doesn't mean anything. Oh, duh. I'm not even thinking. You said a roller. That's what I was going to say. If you're using a roller, you typically use more paint. It's same if you're priming with a roller. It goes a lot faster, but you are going to use more paint. There's not a lot you can do about that if you're painting with the roller. Although, actually, though, it does make a difference what kind of roller you're using. Like, let me show you. So, as far as rolling, I don't have one of them out, but I have one of these out. I have rolled live before, but the Dixie Belle rollers, they are really big and fluffy, and I find that they do best with saving the paint. Comes with the tray. It's like $9.95 for 2 rollers, this and the tray. And those are really nice for painting. Now, I was using this because I did actually use my stamps the other day too. When I did the canvas, I had to put some crackle on it. So I used my crackle stamp. And the Dixie Belle roller, it's got the rounded edges. It's nice and fluffy, perfect for painting. I didn't like it as much for the stamps because it gets down in too much. But I'm using, this is a redesign with Prima one and mini roller, and it's very flat. It's cushiony, but this one doesn't go as thick, and it works way better on the stamps. So I feel like depends on what kind of roller you're using, could potentially make a difference too. Let's see. Oh, you said you thought it was the roller you were using, but nope. Yeah. It's so convenient to use a roller, but I don't really like to clean them. I definitely like brush painting. But every once in a while, I'll prime with a roller because I just want to get it on. Or if I have to do a one-color base coat, but it uses a lot more paint. It does. Oh, thanks, Elena. Oh, yes, Michelle. Like I said, there's 3 that are really relevant. There's some bonus videos in there too, but 3 that are really relevant to the blending. So it's like 6 hours of 6 hours of blending. You know what, Michelle, too? You could always take a video and just message it to me privately. If I see what you're doing, I might be able to help you a little bit more. So if you watch those videos, you're still having a problem, you could probably send me a video of your blending. I could probably tell you. I can usually tell like right away. Do I think I'm gonna put do you think you're going to put the gold or antique gilding wax on the molds? I'm thinking gold, Michelle. What do you think? I think I'm going to, so I think for these flowers, I'm going to do like a kind of a buttercream. I want them to kind of go with the flow of this. So I think I might do buttercream, and then the very edges. So I'm going to do a very light gold gilding wax on the flowers on the very edges, but I want the petals to look, have that depth and dimension. Like I said, we're going to do that live. But, and then I want to do the leaves, kind of in some muted greens, almost neutral greens, probably some of the newer colors. And then I've got the mirror going over here. I I have some of the poly decor. Well, I'll just show you, but I'm way behind on the mirror, just so you know. Well, I'm not way behind, but I still got a little bit to finish up. So, oh, you can't even see it from here. I've got the poly decor roses going at the side. Those are really going to stand out with that layering. And then, like I said, I'm going to put a wax over all that to kind of meld it together. But on just like these swirls, flourishes, whatever, those I'm probably going to make all gold. That's kind of what's in my head right now, but it changes. It definitely changes. Use the Dixie Belle brushes, but not the roller. I'm going to switch to a brush for the second coat. Oh, yeah, that'll make a difference, too. And you can make that second coat super thin. Super, super thin. And like I said, that wrist, that's one other thing when I used to do classes and I would watch people blend. It's like takes too much time to move your arm all the way across like this. It's in the wrist. You're bringing it together. You're getting so many extra strokes when you're working that wrist instead of like that. Plus you have less control when you're using your arm. You've got more control on which way the color's going when you're moving. I hope that makes sense. All right, guys, so I think, I don't know. I'm not flowing through the chat. I lost the chat, actually. Oh, here we go. It's back up. All right, so I don't see any other questions that I missed. So guys, all these the comments from the chat right now, these will disappear, so I can't go back and answer them here on YouTube. But any comments that are made after this live ends, they will stay there and continue to stay there. So please hashtag replay on those. But I've got everything here, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message. And Michelle, with the blending, like I said, just send me a video. And then also, what else? I'll see you guys Wednesday night on Facebook at 6 Central Standard Time again. And of course, any of these products are available on my website, newcreationsbystacey.com. And then locally, 2 store locations, University Pickers in Huntsville, Alabama, and then the Rustic Willow in Ardmore, Alabama. Guys, so I want to make sure I see the last comments. I just saw one come through. Oh, thanks. And we're going to be doing this. Like one person said they wanted to see this and no one else said no. So this is what we're going to do Wednesday night. We'll do the second coat. And then the following Monday, we'll be able to like do the details, do the dry brushing, stuff like that. Oh, thanks, Denise. You are so sweet. Thank you. I'm so blessed and thankful, guys, that I get to do this. I was thinking about it earlier today. Like, this is so different from, the job I was at for 16 years. In tech, believe it or not, shocking I made it. But anyway, all right, guys, you guys take care. Have an awesome rest of your week. I will see you Wednesday night at 6. Bye-bye.